Today, I want to share with you my favorite tools, websites, and trackers that I use to help me find the best stocks, ETFs, and overall just stay up to date with the market, what's going on. And I think those tools can also really be helpful for you. Most of them are free of charge available. Some of them, of course, do have a paid component to it. Majority of them I use on the free plan, but you can always upgrade to the paid plan if you wanted to. And some of those links where I do get a discount for you, you'll find down in the description below. So let's kick things off with the tools that I use on a regular basis. And the first one is actually a recent addition to my stack of tools, so to say, which is FinChat. I kind of read about it before, but I haven't really used it in the past. And while I do have a free plan available, I'm actually on the pro plan, free of charge, because I get it with my eToro club membership, which is pretty awesome. Just by having a bigger portfolio over there, they gave me this as a free benefit. One thing I really like about it, they actually send me every few days an email of how I can use it better. Because at first I was a bit underwhelmed, but now that I know how to use it, I really appreciate it. The first thing over here is the Copilot. So think of it as ChatGPT. And of course, you could also use ChatGPT for your research, right? But in some ways, it's still a bit limited. This is really specialized for financial answers. So here you can ask it anything. For example, how was the last Tesla earnings calls and how were the car delivery numbers? And then it will go out and start looking through the report, see the numbers, and give you an answer. Same way how ChatGPT would, but here you have it all in one platform. And the cool thing is you can dive into the individual points where you want to do. So I really like that. And as you can see, it gives you earnings call, highlight summary over here, how are the car delivery numbers, total delivery numbers, how it developed over time. You can even very easily from here listen into the earnings call itself. So that's really cool, but we'll come to this to a separate tool a little bit later on. But yeah, you have the slides over here. So really, really nice. You can ask follow-up questions. You can go to other chats and ask about Amazon or any other company. So I really like how simple it makes to interact, because a lot of websites, they give you the gist of the company and the reviews and insights, but sometimes you struggle because there's so many options to choose from. So here you can just ask whatever you want. So I think that's super, super powerful. Of course, you can build your own dashboard here as well, which is nice, but I don't use it that much. Analysis is more the traditional one, like we know from Seeking Alpha and other websites. We'll come to that tool in a moment. And it's powerful, but in that way, I definitely prefer Seeking Alpha. You have all the financials over here, investors relation, which is nice as well, ownership, who are the holders, and so forth. So that's really cool. But my favorite tool is actually the charting. If you click over here, you can very easily build your own charts. And that I started using more and more. So let's exit out of this to have a clean slate over here. And for example, again, let's take the example of Tesla. So I can just type in here Tesla and it'll pull up some popular KPIs, key performance indicators that people are looking for. For example, automotive leasing revenue, total automotive revenue, right? Services and other revenue, United States revenue, China revenue. So if I want to see how much is the China revenue from Tesla, I just click on there and boom, right away, it will pull up the chart. And I can see, it's starting to drop a little bit. So very interesting. It's much easier to use than many other tools I've seen out there. I can also, for different companies, compare, for example, revenues, right? So for example, I want to see total revenues, okay? And then I just put my companies over here. For example, Amazon, I want to compare Amazon. Let's type in Amazon over here with Apple. And also let's take Microsoft over here. Just to show you the example of how you could do it, right? You could also choose from many different KPIs over here, revenue, 5-year growth rate, forward PE, and so forth. But let's have it very simple on one. So you could have it by company, then it shows you 3 different graphs, right? You could all have it in one chart or by metric in case you have different metrics, right? You can show over here. So I'll show you quickly how it looks. For example, I wanted to also compare the gross profit. I could enter that and then boom, I would have basically 2 charts over here comparing the various companies and the income and profit over here. So really, really simple. I can change the chart, how I want to see it, stack chart, bar chart. So really, really powerful. You can change the time over here. So that feature alone, for me, it's absolute game changer, especially if I wanted to compare some companies. I think it's one of the most powerful charts I've seen anywhere. And I really like that they have these popular categories, right? For example, even Amazon, a company that I invest in, I see online stores revenue, physical stores revenue. So all those breakdowns, not just income, but really break it down by subscription revenue. So really, really amazing. Of course, you also have the screener over here. We can look for specific company, resources, the earnings, when are earnings coming up. So that's also interesting. So you can see, what's happening this week, next week, for example. So really like that. You can see what are the companies. If you have some companies on your watch list, they will show up over here. So really, really easy to see. And also very cool, for example, super investors, right? For that, in the past, I used to use a website called DataRumor, but now I can see all of that over here. For example, Warren Buffett, I go in here and I see his companies, right? What he has in his portfolio. I can see all the companies broken down, his ownership in them, the filing. So really, really nice to see that. And yeah, honestly, the more I use the website, the more I started to like it. Probably has even more features. Check it out yourself. Can definitely recommend it. The next tool I use pretty much on a daily basis is Seeking Alpha. Absolutely love it. Been using it for a number of years now. They have a free plan. I'm actually on the premium plan. And for me, it's really worth it. They keep on adding new features, for example, analyze with AI, really cool. If you have a company not really familiar with, all you do is click on this. It will basically generate you an AI summary of what the company does, competitors, also their ratings over here. So you get a quick snapshot overview of how the company is doing, their predicted price, etc. So really, really powerful. And again, one of my favorite features is actually the analysis from really smart people over here, and immediately indicating if it is a strong buy article or a sell article. And I like that, right? You can see somebody's saying sell, somebody's saying buy. And I like to read different perspectives, right? Because there's not one right way to invest. Everybody has a different perspective. And I like to read that and form my own opinion. And not only that, the cool thing is, if I go into this, honestly, some of those articles are really, really insightful, and they pull information from all different sources. So I really like them, quite elaborate. And you can see they really spend time on that, because Seeking Alpha has to prove those articles. So they make sure only relevant stuff comes into here. And I also like the discussions. Often in the comments over here, only premium members, those who really pay quite a bit of money for it, can actually comment. So you know that those people are not random bots, but actual people who pay money for the subscription. And again, I like to see the different perspectives people have on the stock or company. And of course, they have a lot of things over here that you can really dive into, profitability. And I really like that they give those grades, A+ and so forth. So you can quickly see, whether something is good or bad. Otherwise, asset turnover ratio, what does it mean? Is it good? Is it bad? So you can see what it is, how it compares. You get a quick snapshot overview. And once again, they have on the dashboard the most relevant information, the revenue over time, how it develops. You see a profitability. And one of the cool things they recently added is the advanced chart, because in the past, for comparing stocks to another stocks, I actually used TradingView. So I had to have too many different tools. But now that they added this, I actually like it. I can very easily just add another stock over here. For example, Microsoft, add it over here, another one if I wanted to, S&P 500 index. And then boom, I have the timeline over here. I can change the timeline, let's say over 5 years. How did they do? I can see over here how those different stocks did over time. So really easy. And yeah, I love it. Since then, I don't actually use TradingView anymore. I have it all over here on Seeking Alpha. So it has so many other tools. I did a whole video breaking down why I use Seeking Alpha Premium. So you can check that out afterwards, but definitely really recommend it. And they have a great app as well. So it makes sense if you want to check things on the go. One thing to keep in mind though, it's mostly American stock focused, right? So if you invest a lot of European stocks or other stocks outside the US, then it may not be that valuable for you. But if you invest mostly in the US market, this can really be your go-to resource. The next tool might surprise you, but that's actually Interactive Brokers. That's one of the stock brokers that I use to do my buys and sells. But I obviously don't want to talk about different brokers, made separate videos about this. But why I like Interactive Brokers, because the amount of detail you get from the website is actually really impressive, especially compared to other stock brokers that give you way less information. So it is tucked away a little bit. You get a little bit information over here, but the real value is if you click over here on fundamentals, and then you'll see a lot of information, insights that, as I said, even some paid websites may not necessarily provide you with. We see competitors, social sentiment, short selling, what's going on, securities lending. So really a lot of insights, analyst ratings. And you can see over here so many things, company profile. You can click on any graph, you see the breakdown visually over here. And they've been improving this a lot. In the past, it used to be really clunky and not very visually pleasing. They really cleaned up, improved that interface. For example, analyst ratings. You can see all the various websites, even from Morningstar, it pulls in the information. TipRanks, another website a lot of people use, it pulls in the information. TipRanks ratings, social sentiment, where it goes out and sees the social score, how people are positive or negative about the stock or company. Look, this is even new. I haven't seen it last time. Trading Central. So you can see this is new. Even more insights. I haven't even checked it out, what this is all about. So really impressive. And you get all of this free of charge just by having an Interactive Brokers account. So even if you're not planning to use it necessarily to invest, well, you could just open up an account with them and get those insights. You don't have to pay for it. There's no monthly inactivity fee or anything. So definitely can recommend them. And the last tool I want to talk about is Quarter. And honestly, I've been really loving the app in recent times. This app basically allows you to listen to any company earnings calls. Pretty much any company I wanted to listen to, I found them over here. And it's really cool on the go when I'm in the gym or driving. I listen to earnings calls, and it's really interesting where you hear the CEOs and board members of a company present the company and answer Q&A. And for me, it's really much more insightful than just reading a company report, right? Because you don't get the emotions. So for me, I really get a feel of how the company is doing and the leadership and management especially. You can see also in the calendar over here, what are some of the companies coming up that I've earmarked to listen to: Robinhood, Amazon, Alphabet, Tesla. And it's really easy to follow them. You can explore all the various companies over here, what's happening. If I wanted to listen to any, for example, Alphabet, you see over here the quarterly report. I could open this up over here and see everything they wrote on the quarterly report. But again, it's a bit cumbersome to read all that. You can read the transcript of the call, but again, I like to listen to it. So all I do is click on it and press play. It will start playing, and I can even close my phone and listen to it while I'm on the go. So I really, really love that. And you also have the slides over here, which they presented during the call. So you get, for example, listen to the call while checking the slides if you really want to dive deep. So yeah, you see all the other companies over here. So really, really easy, free of charge. You can pay for it to use it on the desktop, but honestly, for me, the mobile version is more than enough. Right, with this, we move to some of the websites that I use mostly for news-related things towards investment stocks, what's happening in the market. Most of them are free of charge, but of course, some of them do have a paid component to it. So the first one is CNBC. It's kind of really generic news, but I kind of like it. I read it probably twice a day in the morning, evening, just to see what's happening in the market. So it kind of gives you a helicopter view of what's happening. It is free of charge for the most part. It can pay, for example, for the pro plans. You can read some of the pro articles where they have stock recommendations and so forth, but I'm really fine with the free plan. The next one is Yahoo Finance. Probably all of you have heard about them. They've been around for so long. I think they have a paid plan, but I don't think it's worth it. You find a lot of insights, news-related things to any company, analysis as well, and they've been really improving as well over the years. So yeah, it's really a nice, solid resource. Next one is the Wall Street Journal. I really value some really good articles and some nice graphics and insights that I haven't seen for some of the other websites. And I believe you can get a free articles per month, after which it's behind the paywall. And in the past, I would have not paid for it myself, but now that I actually get it free of charge with my eToro Club membership, once again, similar to FinChat, after you reach a certain level, you get access to it for free. Well, now I have it. Would I pay for it from my own money? Maybe not. But if you get it with eToro or some other way, because I've seen they have some promotions once in a while, I really like it to get, again, some even more insights into what's going on. So definitely a nice website that I use on a daily basis as well. And then we have Financial Times, which for me always, I don't know, brings warm feelings. I remember when I was younger, back in the days, whenever I had a chance, read the actual newspaper, right? The physical newspaper. And I really liked it. Have a coffee, read it. I felt like, some investor or something. So I always enjoyed that feeling. And now I read the digital version of it. Same story here. I think you get a couple of free articles a month, then you have to pay for it. And I actually pay for it myself because I think it's quite expensive. I think at $30 or $35 a month. I actually get a free of charge with my Revolut. Being on one of the higher Revolut paid plans, you get free access to Financial Times. And for me, it's really worth it. I will definitely read it once a day and I always get some good insights or ideas that I can use for my content or investment opportunities. If that offer wasn't there anymore with Revolut, would I pay for it myself? Maybe not, but while it is, I'll definitely make the most out of it. The next website is specifically for ETF investors. So if you plan to invest into ETFs, I really recommend justetf.com. Amazing resource, totally free of charge. You can pull up any ETF over here to get an idea. What is the expense ratio? What is the model behind? What are the holdings? Especially also, a lot of people ask me, where is it listed? What is the ticker symbol? Well, you just go over here to Stock Exchange. You see all the various ticker symbols, which you then use to go into your broker to look for it, the traded currency. So really, really insightful and powerful, free of charge. Absolutely love it. And definitely, I think you should be bookmarking this website. And lastly, a plug for my own website, Match My Broker, which basically will help you to find the right stockbroker for you, because all the stock research in the world is great, but ultimately you need a place to go out and buy your stocks, right? So for this, I can definitely recommend to check out Match My Broker. You have all the various reviews. It filters automatically by where you're based, but you can read other stockbrokers as well. We even have a short questionnaire that asks you what kind of investor you are, beginner, where you're located, what do you want to trade, and based on which they will recommend you a number of different stockbrokers. So I definitely think it could be a great resource for you. With this, we move to stock trackers that I use and can really recommend. Starting off with Delta, which is my most recent addition. I used different ones in the past, but now I mostly use Delta. I really like that I can see all my various portfolios in one. I can see combined all portfolios, my eToro holding over here in the active brokers, and trading 212. So if I had to track it individually, it would be quite cumbersome. And now I just added them all to Delta and it's automatically updated. I don't have to go in there, press any buttons or manually enter. It automatically pulls it. And once you connected accounts, it's live. I haven't had to log in to my broker again for a long time, which was the case with some other apps that offered tracking. I had to revalidate and log in and it was clunky and didn't work. Here, I never had any issues. It works absolutely seamlessly. And honestly, I've been really enjoying the experience. I can see my transactions when I bought what. And not only that, I actually like their web interface a lot because I can see here what's happening, what's trending, top gainers. And I like also, for example, which stocks are trending, but more importantly, indices, right? So I get a quick look of what's happening across the world. You can see very easily by the flag which country we're talking about. Spain has been up, in Germany, in Europe. So really cool. Some of the biggest indices, commodities, for example, I can click into that and see, okay, gold is developing, how's the price of oil? So it's very easy to keep up because some other apps and websites make that really difficult. And here it's really easy. Forex as well. So that's probably one of the features I use the most with that tool. And again, they do have a free plan available, but you can also upgrade to the pay plan. Of course, if you are an eToro user, you get the Pro plan for free once you hit a certain membership level with the portfolio size. So I'm on the paid plan, but even the free plan, I think, offers a lot of insights and value. With this, we move to the second tool, which is GetQuinn. They're kind of competitors in a way, and it does a lot of similar things, right? However, one thing I did have some issues with was that not all of the brokers that I use were supported as automatic sync. Plus, there was sometimes some glitches with interactive brokers. There wasn't always syncing the way I wanted to. So I had to delink and relink my account. So that was a bit clunky, but overall the interface is really clean, very nice, especially if you're a dividend investor. I think it's probably the best tool because for dividends, Delta is lacking a little bit. They're not as strong in dividend tracking, but for that, GetQuinn for me is the best tool. I really loved and was so nice when I was a heavy dividend investor to see how your dividends are growing. They're even projecting into the future when they're being paid out. So yeah, if you're investing in dividends, I think it's probably the best tool. And one more last tool to track all your stocks, crypto, any investment asset basically is portfolio performance. Now, it is a bit old school and clunky. I used to use it in the past myself. It is extremely powerful because, as I said, you can track pretty much anything you wish, right? Even your valuable belongings you can add over here. So it's really customizable, really powerful. But yeah, it is not as pretty and fun to use, let's say, but at the same time, it is yours, right? Because those apps, they may come and go. Here, you can really track your own portfolio over many, many years. It's your own file. So it's really powerful. I made some videos about this in the past. It's completely free of charge. There's no even paid plan for it. So if you want completely free and most customizable version, then that's your go-to. But there's also a steep learning curve to it, and they don't automatically sync your portfolio. So if you do have different brokers like I have myself, then here you would have to, every time after you do a purchase, go into here and record your transaction. So it is more labor intensive, but at the same time, you can get potentially even more insights out of it. So it's up to you. It's just another option for you to have. I don't use it anymore. I used to use it in the past, but I always forgot to record some transactions. And in the end, my portfolio tracking wasn't as accurate as it should have been. And that's why I don't use it anymore, but I just wanted to mention to you as a little bonus to check out in case you really wanted something completely customizable and independent of any big company, because this is an open source tool. So it might be appealing to some of you. Well, there you have it. My favorite tools and websites. I hope you found something interesting, something new to try out. As you can see, there is not one perfect tool that does all of it. And I think all of them have their own individual strength. But I'm interested to hear from you. Maybe I missed a website or tool that I should be checking out. Let me know in the comments down below. Next up, check out this video right here. As always, thanks for watching. Stay healthy, get wealthy, and I'll see you in the next one. Ciao.